Peace, prosperity, love, and light. Welcome back to Deep Speak with Brother Sadiq. Um, I got a couple of things I wanted to talk about because I feel like we've kind of gotten so far off track that the question that we used to ask about, what is life about? Why are we here? What is the purpose of life? I think that's a vague question. And I think what we need to do is ask a personal question. Why am I here? What is my purpose? The relevance of my own story, the relevance of my own travels, the relevance of my own experience here. If you ask the question from that perspective, then you have the opportunity for a more direct answer and a direction for your life. So, one day back in, maybe 15 years ago, I asked that question. I'm 48. I was 32. 16 years ago, I asked the question: Why am I here? What is the purpose? Why did you create me? I didn't come here. You thought of me being here. You called for my existence to be here. And so these were questions I was asking of the universe or of Allah or of God or what of source or whatever you might want to use and name to title it. And I asked because I wanted to know. I was at a state of confusion. I was at a state of frustration from attempting to assimilate into the matrix in every way that society told me was best to do for development of myself and my family. So what happens eventually in my own scenario is that I get these direct answers. I get direct answers, and I believe you can get them too. And so that's why I'm having this conversation, because we ask this vague question. Not everyone. Some of us are just like, of the 85% and don't even care what our life is about. And we're just content with being entertained by the things that the world throws at us. But there are those of us who think deeper, who ask that question: why am I here? What is the purpose of life? And when you ask the question, what is the purpose of life, it can seem overwhelming, because that question can most likely be answered. I believe there is an answer to that question. I could probably provide it, but I don't think that is most important. The question of what is the purpose of your individual life is more important. And I think way easier to answer. And I believe it is most important and directive. It gives you direction when you answer that question for yourself. So I asked this question 16 years ago, and the creator, the universe, Allah, told me that I was here to help to elevate the next generation so that they don't fall into the same traps and make the same mistakes that we made, that I made, that my generation made. And so what are those traps? It's social engineering. I've talked about in past videos. There are so many traps involved. But what's more important is the spiritual connection to all of these things. You can easily be misguided if you listen to who impresses you this week in the Matrix, who impresses you this week on television, who impresses you this week, who's hot in the rap league, or whatever is going on that they put forward for you to be impressed by or speak on or interject your thoughts about. That is a misdirected life. You have to pull in your energies and request from the universe, request from your higher self, your soul, your spirit, the creator, however and whoever you may want to label as that source that could give you this information that is outside of the matrix. Think about it. You went to school until you were 18. Maybe you went to college until you were 24, 26, whatever it is. But that is the education that you were given from those who thought this is what you should know. What about the education about the things that you want to know, that your spirit calls you towards, that society makes you feel goofy or silly or weird about studying? I was at a sweat lodge in Indiana here, and there was a woman who had her 14-year-old son there, and she talked about how he was inclined spiritually. and that she appreciated that, but she also was concerned that his interaction with his friends at school and the bigger community will be limited because of it, because he's so different, because of the way he sees things and thinks. And I told her that's true, and to be accepting of it. In fact, to be expecting of it. Because when you have a nature that shows you things that are outside of what the common man is willing to look at, and you share these things with those people and they say, yeah, okay, I heard of that before, or I believe it, or, they give you the brush off. You get the brush off. We've all had it, any of us who are attempting to share or show someone something that we've learned or experienced or something that we think they're going through that we could help them with. And we've had the brush off. And so what I explained to this woman about her son is that that is something that you must accept and explain to him is a part of his path. Okay, accepting that you will not be always accepted in your perspective, and that your perspective will likely be challenged by those who are still connected to the matrix. And so it limits who you hang out with. It limits who you consider part of your circle. Because if a person that you're hanging with or you're trying to, build or connect or, their friend, whatever you might want to call them, acquaintance, association, if they are not progressive, if they're not about growth and development, if it's just 1% a day or 1% a week, but you have to be growing. Okay, if you're not about growth and development and change and elevating yourself, then that person will become a detriment to you. And you will find that there is nothing that you have in common because what you're trying to do is different than what they're trying to do. In fact, usually they're not trying to do anything. Sad fact of the matter is most of us spend our time being entertained. Entertainment is probably the most that is the most I don't even know how to term it, but entertainment is probably the majority of where most Americans spend their time. Okay, if you're not working for someone else's vision and dream, which is going to work, having a job and producing something for someone else, which is part of their vision and plan, you're usually trying to be entertained some kind of way, one way or another. Entertainment is probably the biggest controlling factor in the matrix and the biggest detriment to your development and evolution. Yet it's something that you seek out. And so there is a certain amount of willpower that it takes to become something more than what the matrix intends for you to be. So if you graduate high school, you graduate college, and you think that you know all that you would need to know, I feel sorry for you, because that is only what they intended for you to know. There is so much more to know. The experience of your own spiritual life is never written out in the books of elementary schools or the elementary through 12th grade, and very rarely even, investigated in the college level or the university level. And so the reality that you are spiritual, that you are a spirit, that your physical body is only the capsule that you utilize to walk around in this physical reality, that is a fact. And that the energy that causes this body to be alive is spiritual. You are looking out of your eyes, meaning the spirit is something that is different than the eyes, right? You're not. So you must understand that the value of your spiritual education is just as or more important than your secular education. Okay, so it does not have to be a religious practice that gives you this spiritual education. It can be an experiential practice that gives you this education. I myself recognize who I am. I did not recognize who I was for a number of years in my life. At 32, I was given my purpose and told why I'm here. And as G.I. Joe told us when we was kids, knowing is only half the battle. Now you have to form this new character. You have to become this ultimate being known as Cidique. Who is Cidique? Cidique is the servant of the Most High. He is a representative of his most honorable ancestors. And his goal is to manifest on this plane, this planet, in this time of my life, a new educational format for our youth, to develop a future progressive educational system that will elevate our human species. So that's why I'm here. And my name is Sadiqullah. So where did I get this name? I'm going to tell a quick story, very quick. I was a Baha'i, and I was part of the spiritual community here in Bloomington, Indiana. I was on the spiritual assembly at the Baha'i, in the Baha'i community here. And it's an elected position. And there was a day where I had an experience of what one might call the Holy Spirit moving through me and giving me my name, my new name, my name. I was pondering my name, and through my own physical being and body, a voice and energy came through my body and told me my current name, which is Sadiqullah. There's an entire story about it. I'd be willing to do an interview and attest about it. I mean, I'll take a lie detector. It's nothing to me, but the fact of the matter is, when I told the community here, I didn't tell all of the community. I told the spiritual community and some of the leadership in the community of my experience. They told me not to tell the community of my experience, which detached me from the Baha'i community, because if this is the reality of my experience, and I think I was brought into this community to share my experience from the vision for My Brother's Library Incorporated to the name, which is Sadiqullah, which goes along associative with the name of the prophet of the Baha'i faith, whose name is Baha'u'llah. My name is Sadiqullah. This name was given to me through spiritual means. So I don't brag, I don't talk about it, I don't share it with many people, but I know my purpose here. And I know I am a tool of the Most High. And those who associate with me and help me to build this are helping to build God's kingdom and the future of what our planet should be, and heaven on earth. So I just wanted to share that, and I hope that people can begin to find their own purpose and their path and their effort to help change this reality, because that's why you're here. That's why you're here in this time, because you are one of the people who are intended to help bring about a new reality on this earth. Or maybe you're just fodder for the fire, men and stones. So, peace, blessings, love, and light. Find yourself, and let's connect. One love.